In some counties, you have more than one law firm. One will represent the county, another one represent the city, another one can represent the school district. And so you might have three different sales in one county, one after the other, on the same day. And each one of them has different rules. So it's
Well,
tedious.
hi, here I am today with Arnie Abramson. He is a tax sales professional with Texas Tax Sales. He works in the area of property tax sales and related real estate transaction. Arnie, it's nice to meet you today. Thanks so much for coming on to Beyond the Listing. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'd like to make is in Texas, investors don't buy tax liens, just tax deeds. About half of the states are what they call tax lien states, and half are tax deed states. Texas is a tax deed state, and people all the time don't get the distinction, but they're real. It's like the difference between buying a bond or buying a stock. A tax lien is like a bond. What you're buying is an obligation. In a tax deed, you're actually buying the property. For clarification on that, and because a lot of people who are not into the tax sales don't understand the difference. So a little about myself. In my former life, I was a financial planner, and early 90s, I started getting into real estate. And initially, my introduction was in a tax sale. The very first deal we did, my wife and I did, was a tax sale. We knew someone who was doing it, and we went in with him. And after that, we started doing other types of foreclosures. We did VA foreclosures, we did HUD foreclosures, and
Nice.
then
When I
we
first
did.
started out, I worked for a real estate broker that did short sales foreclosure and bought property off of the courthouse steps. So I'm a little bit, that's how I first started out. I'm a little bit familiar with it. And he did a huge
Right.
amount of tax liens, tax deeds. Yeah.
Now, I've got to tell you what the funny story is that after several years of doing this, maybe 20, I looked around one day and I had an office with 10 employees and we were managing 250 properties. And I said, this is not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to become an administrator. I wanted to just do the fun things, go out and do all the foreclosures and all that. So I started decentralizing and doing it. And after a while, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to sort of semi-retire. I just want to play a lot more golf, and I
Yeah.
want to just teach people about tax sales. And then I hurt my shoulder, couldn't play as much golf, and I started teaching more people about tax sales, and it started to grow because no one was teaching people about tax sales in Texas except some, quote, gurus from out of Texas who didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And it's so different. And so it grew, and all of a sudden I was speaking at some of the clubs about tax sales, and it grew, and it went crazy. And it was a good crazy. And now, no one else that I know of covers the whole state for tax sales. But what's unusual about what we do is we don't just teach people about it, we can do it for them. And we can
That's
just what
awesome.
they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's very unusual because all the tax sales are going on at the same time, the same day. So how does someone who's an investor get to more than one of them? They can through us. So that's
That's
the
awesome. So
short of it.
how do you begin that?
How do we what?
How would somebody like me begin the process if they wanted to do it themselves or if they wanted to reach out to talk to you? How would they do it if they wanted to do it themselves? How would you teach them? Yeah.
We have a whole program where we do that. We have classes, we teach people, we take them in the field, they show them how to do it, and that's what we do. And we have a membership, which is unusual too, people who want to learn about it, and we'll take them in the field and show them, and then we do that for other investors too.
That's awesome.
And of course, there's a fee for it. And so some of the people who join us want to help us. And so we split the fees with them when we teach them how to do that. So that's a short version of what we do. We do it all. We can do it all for them, or we can just teach them how to do it, or we can do just what they don't want to do, or they can join us and help other investors do it and earn some money while doing it.
That seems like that's such a great process that you're teaching and or doing for people.
Not only that, we're now expanding into the trustee sales, which are not tax sales. Those are the mortgage foreclosures. And here's why. As I'm sure all of your listeners have noticed, the prices of homes have gone up tremendously in the last couple of years, right? So now everybody's got to have a mortgage. And most people who have a mortgage are going to pay their taxes through their mortgage company.
Yep.
Not everybody does, but a lot of people do. And so if you foreclose on those payments, the mortgage company can get it to a sale quicker than the tax people can. So those will go to trustee sales, which is what the mortgage foreclosures are called. And they're the same day and the same place as the tax sales. However, they're 3 or 4 months earlier than it would have been for the tax sale. So it's really a crazy situation because you've got both of them going on. And it sounds like they're very alike in a lot of ways, but they're entirely different. The motivations are different. Because the tax sale people want to sell the properties, because if they don't have an owner of a property, they're not collecting the taxes. So they need somebody. They're going to help you do it. The mortgage companies, not so much, because if they loan somebody $80,000 on a $100,000 property 4 years ago, and they're foreclosing on that property is now worth $300,000 or more, they don't want to have to sell it at a bargain basement price, but they would like to buy it themselves and take it over. But the law says they must first offer it for sale before they can do that. So they are not, so they make it a little more difficult to find when the sale is and what time and all that. So it's a different motivation.
But you have all this. You have all this information, and you are
we have
right
enough of
on
it.
those steps for your investors.
Yes, we do we have a membership where we started. It doesn't make sense for all of our members to have to go to every county to find out if they're having a sale next month, and then go the counties they like, they have to go and find the properties, do the research on that. It doesn't make sense for everybody to do that, so we do it for them, for our members, at no charge.
Arnie, you're like the easy button.
The easy bank?
Yeah, you're like the easy button, right?
Here's the thing. There's not a lot of competition compared to other forms of investment for investors in Texas, because a lot of people don't know about how these things work, because no one else is really teaching about it. And the people who do know about it, for years and years, they didn't want anybody else to know.
Yeah.
Because why do you want to educate your competition? For years and years, I would go to just Dallas or Tarrant or Fort Worth area, or sometimes a couple of others. And for a long time, there were just 8 or 10 people there at the most. And people who knew about these sales, they didn't want to let anybody else know. And then all of a sudden, and this is tax sales again, we started seeing more and more people go. And it was pretty obvious what was happening. There were more people coming in because Those were the hedge funds. And we know about it because one of them contacted us, and for a while we actually bid for them. And so that was creating more and more competition. And at one point, I said, we're out of here. I'm not going to go to these big counties anymore. I'm going to go to the smaller ones. And that's where the deals are.
In the smaller
Because, look,
counties.
yeah, it's a very simple equation. The bigger the county, the more people are in it, the more houses in it, the more foreclosures there are, and therefore the more buyers.
Sure.
Because they can go to Dallas instead of going to, I don't know, Hunt County, you know, and it's true. The bigger the county, the more competition. The smaller the county, the less competition, and the lower the prices. And the
So
little properties. One big thing that everyone needs to understand about that: these smaller counties and smaller towns are growing like crazy. The last 3 years, the fastest growing towns in the United States were both in Texas. All three in Texas. All 3 years.
So what were those three counties?
It was the towns, not the counties, that were growing. Salina,
towns.
Texas, for example, it was number one.
Sure. Okay. I can see
And
that. It's very close.
And by the way, at the same time, Texas in the last 2 years has the most new foreclosures filed in any other state. So we've got interesting combination. A lot of foreclosures and the growing population. So this is
So
the place to
Arnie,
be.
would you attribute that for Texas having the most foreclosures, would you attribute that to being that our tremendous growth that we have had in recent years, that everything has been grow, and we've recently had a little bit of a downturn in, especially in our real estate market, a little bit of a downturn? Would you contribute that foreclosure being part of that?
I think there are a lot of different factors that are causing that, but the price increases has a lot to do with that. What happens when your $100,000 property is now worth $300,000? Your taxes have tripled, right? And your insurance rates now are way up. In many cases, that doubles your monthly payments or more. What's happening?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine. I know mine. My insurance and my taxes have went up quite a bit. So thankfully, I anticipated it. I was
Yeah.
okay. So, what are some common mistakes new investors make
In buying,
in getting into the investor
it's not
into
a
this market?
it's not a problem. The problem is, where do they learn about it?
It's true.
No one else is teaching people about this except some quote gurus, like I say, out of state. But even if they do, what happens after they teach them how it works? Who wants to do all that work? And so they don't want to do it. And then, because at the end of the day, okay, I decide I'm going to go to X county and I'm going to that tax sale, and they've got 4 or 5 properties that I want to bid on. You get there, they all got paid off at the last minute. And you waste all that effort and the day.
What type of an investment do most people need to get into investing into this?
Investing in general, or just in our area of foreclosures?
I would say just in general, let's say as a novice that I would want to get into purchasing a tax lien or a tax deed. What would you say the minimum amount would be that I would need to have to invest?
Look, when you buy a tax deed, what you're really doing is buying the property.
Sure.
It could be a vacant lot. It could be a house. It could be a mineral right. It could be a lot of things. So people everyone knew coming in, they all have similar questions is what's the average this? There's no such thing as an average in this end of the business because there are too many variables. The fact is, if it's just a house alone, is it occupied? Is it vacant? Is it torn up? Is it in good shape? Is it a 6-bedroom? Is it a 1-bedroom? There are too many variables. And
Sure,
is it a
depends on what
vacant
you're
lot?
looking for. Depends on what you're
Well,
looking for.
yeah, yeah. And I actually, it's the reverse. Everybody's looking for a great deal. So the first thing is how much money do they have to work with? And
Okay.
if you've got $10,000, you're going to have a tough time to find anything.
Sure, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things now here, and so that's what some of these lenders are out there doing. There are a lot of private lenders that will loan money. You can go to the bank and do that. The problem is, most of the people who want to borrow money, they want to borrow it to buy a property, but who's going to loan it to them before they buy it? Now, if they make a deal individually with somebody, they can maybe go to the bank and get a loan to do it. But if you're going to an auction, whether it's a tax sale auction or a mortgage auction, who's going to give you the money to bid?
Sure.
We will. We have a source that will. It took me 20 years to find it, but we now have a source for our members that will loan them. Are you ready for this? 70% of what they bid. Now they have to prove the property, you know.
Sure.
So, that's leverage.
And that's part of being that's one of the perks of being a member of yours.
Yes. All right.
So what does
Yeah,
it
and
take to
see,
become one of your members?
that's an interesting story. We have 2 or 3 different ways. One of them is very affordable because it's because of a process we've put together called Learn and Earn. Because there's a X dollars to become a member, let's say. But what if they don't know, am I going to this or not? So we have something they can start with that's much less costly, and it's our it's our schooling, it's our teaching them, and it's like $900. And that's lifetime. That's it, one time, and they can go through our school for that, where we teach them all about it, and then they can practice what we teach them and earn the rest of it to become a member, or say, I can go out and do it on myself now. So that's fine. Because I look at it the way if I were joining something. That sounds great. I don't know this guy. I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to lay out any really significant money without knowing. So that's the way I would look at it. So that's the way we structured it. $900, if you walk away from it, you have now learned and been taught how to do it. So you've gained something on, you got the value, and then go from there. So that's a long
Fair
answer
enough,
to a
'cause
short question.
fair enough. There's a lot of times I think, oh, that's a fantastic thing, and I really want to do it. And then once I get into it, I'm like, I don't know that I want to do that.
And I got to tell you, I got a story. I talked to someone last week that called me, and I spoke at a club, and they called and they said, now, I don't need your training because I just paid somebody $23,000 to teach me all about tax sales. I said, really? What did they tell you about? And I picked something about Texas, and they had it all wrong. They absolutely had it all wrong.
Yeah. Oh my
23,000.
goodness.
And I said, now, even if it was right, what are you going to do? Who's going to do it? I don't know. It's the whole thing. Let's be realistic. We have grown from me just doing that into we've got a lot of people involved now, and they're not employees, they're investors. They can decide when they want to go out and preview properties, when they want to go to the auctions, and that's the way we can cover everything. And I got to tell you, people that we have done that with this past year, we paid out. I just got the numbers. to $355,000 to the people who did this part
Wow,
time last year.
that's amazing. So
It's
that's a
amazing.
nice passive. That's a nice passive income for somebody
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
learning and making money
Absolutely.
themselves.
And even if they don't want to, 1 or 2 days a month is all it takes too.
Yeah,
All
that's
all the
awesome.
auctions are on the same day.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
is that the first Tuesday of the month, I believe, right?
Yes, that's correct. It's
I
the
think.
first Tuesday on the month with of the month with two exceptions. There are two national holidays that could possibly fall on a Tuesday. And I always ask
Uh,
people, can you guess what they are? And sometimes they say
Christmas?
Christmas. I say, well,
No, wait.
it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for the 25th of the month to be the first Tuesday.
Yes, you are correct there. Oh, 4th of July?
Correct. Very good. That's one of them.
Yes. Yeah, 4th of July, and oh, it's got to be a president holiday.
New Year's Day. New Year's
New
Day.
Year's Day. Okay. You got me on
That's
that
it.
one. I was like, which
But
president?
everybody misses that one.
Okay.
But
New Year's Day. Okay.
and when those days occur on the first Tuesday, they have it the next day, a Wednesday, in
Okay.
those two cases.
Okay.
See,
I,
these
as I
are all the
said,
little things that they don't teach you,
yeah.
at these
So
schools.
I
They don't even
remember
know it.
having to go with my broker to the courthouse steps and going through the pre-foreclosure list month after month, and because I did a lot of pre-foreclosures and short sales before they were a thing back in 2007, 2008. It was a lot of fun. I never did the bank owned, so I stuck with those, but they were very interesting.
There, it's amazing, and what we do too. A lot of times, when I was going to the Dallas one all the time, the sheriff in Dallas back then, I asked him one day. I said, I get a lot of questions from people. I hope you don't mind that they're not asking you. He said, are you kidding? I'd send them to you because I want you to answer them. I don't want to have to answer all that. And then he said, in fact, if you like, you can set up a table in the back of the room and I'll tell them to go ask you questions when it's over. And that's how we really got started teaching other people. And
That's amazing.
so, so it was really funny and it wasn't anything we planned on, but it happened. And because it's very complicated, it really is. So many things, and every county is different. And
Yeah.
every county's, in some counties, you have more than one law firm. One will represent the county, another one represent the city, another one can represent the school district. And so you might have three different sales in one county, one after the other, on the same day. And each one of them has different rules. So
Well,
it's tedious.
that's awesome being the trusted resource, being the go to person that knows what they're doing. And you're not giving misinformation, right? You're the person that even the trusted advisors are sending people to you. So being the trusted advisor's trusted advisor. So that's a wonderful thing.
Well, we do get referrals from the people who know about us, but we don't do a lot of advertising
Yeah.
and programming and all that because why? Why we've got enough people that it's expanding and we're bringing on more people, but the worst thing that we could do would be not to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
So we have to have enough resources because we're going to we'll go to 30 counties sometimes in one day, all at the same time. And we've got to have trained people to do that. So we don't want to expand too fast and have all kinds of people coming in and doing that because then you can't do a good job for them. And the idea is that it's not just go to the auction. You have to find out. I used to get these people in the back of the room, like I said, and they would come and ask me. And one guy one night one day he comes back and he says, I got a problem. Last month I bought a great house at the tax sale, and I went out to see it. It was a beautiful house. I got there, and it was gone. There was no house there. I said, wait a minute. You didn't go visit the property before you bought it? No, I saw the pictures online. I said, those pictures are 6 years old. Things like that happen that we have to tell people. You've got to teach people about them because no one is out there doing that. That's catastrophic. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So he did not go check it out.
That's right. So that's what one of the things we teach people is how to do it. And when you go out, you take pictures of the property from the street so you can get a feel for it. You don't disturb the tenant. You can't do that because that's trespassing. But what we will do is on the mailbox or something, we will put a flyer and say things like, if you have questions, call us, maybe we can help and that kind of stuff. And we get calls. And in fact, I got a call yesterday from a couple, and they're getting other flyers, by the way. There are lenders who will say, we'll lend you the money, no payment for 12 months. And they don't tell you what that payment in the 13th month will be, but it's up there. But they'll call us and say, how can we help? And we say, what's the problem? And whatever it is, we'll try to give them some advice. The first thing I tell them is, call the tax office and ask them if they'll put you on a payment plan.
Yeah.
Because that'll be the least costly to you that you can possibly do. There's no cost to it if they'll do that, and some of them will. And I say before, because if we or anybody else helps you out, it's going to cost you something, but that won't. So we want to do the right thing.
So you know the difference between a tax lien and a mortgage lien.
Yes, correct.
And you can navigate and teach people the differences and what to do.
You have to speak up a little bit, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can teach people the difference between a tax lien, a mortgage lien, where to get them, what to do, how to do it, or you can do it for them, what they're looking, what they want to do, what they want to buy. So you can teach them how to do it or do it for them.
Yes, that's correct. And
That's
they can just learn and do it on their own also. That's okay.
and they can learn and make passive income from you as well, correct?
Correct.
That just seems like that's such an easy thing if investing is what you want to do.
Well, they will learn, and they will learn it's not real easy. All investing is not just, oh, I'll buy this, because we were contacted by a hedge fund recently, by the way, and they were saying, hey, you can go buy this for us? I said, yeah. And they said, great. And I said, what are you going to do when you buy it? What are you going to do with it? We hadn't thought about that. I said, you better think about it. Because it's
Just because you bought it doesn't mean it just can't
That's right.
sit there. Yeah.
That's right. You have to know what to do when you, and it's not anything you can't do. You just have to know what it is, and we enjoy teaching the people that because we have this saying: we want everybody to win. The person that we've got trained to go out and win, he's going to get paid for it. We want to win, but we want the people in the house to win also, if at all possible. We can keep them in the house, working on a payment arrangement for them. So what we'll do sometime is we'll buy the house from them, and they can name the price. And then after a while, we can owner finance it back to them when they get back on their feet or something. Sure. And they can stay in it in the meantime. I mean, there are all kinds of things you can do if you. What we want to do is just understand what the problem is and help them find a solution.
Yeah.
And you feel good about those. You really do.
Arnie, is on any of these liens, is there a right of redemption on any of them? Is there a right of redemption? There is.
You keep saying liens. It's the deeds that you're doing.
Deeds.
Remember
I'm
that.
sorry. Yes.
No, that's okay, and it's a big distinction within the industry. And so your question is their right of redemption, and it's important to know that redemption in a tax lien state is different from a redemption in a tax deed state. That's why I'm a stickler for making sure that we call it the right thing.
Uh-huh.
Because in a tax lien state, all it does when it redeems it, that just pays off the loan, the lien.
Okay.
In a tax deed state,
Deed.
in Texas, let's talk Texas here. If
Okay.
you lose your property, you have a period of time that you have the right to buy it back
All right.
at the same price that it sold for, plus 25%. So if it
Okay.
sold for 100,000, then you can buy it back for 125,000. And so everybody kind of wins. They got now. It doesn't happen that often because if you can't make your payment of 60,000 or your yearly 12,000, whatever it is, how are you going to do that? But sometimes you can because sometimes it's you've got a settlement coming, you inherit all kinds of reasons. But in Texas, you have that right, and that right of redemption is for 6 months. You have that right
Oh,
to do
6 months.
it, and it's
Okay.
2 years. And it's 2 years if it is a homestead or has an agricultural exemption or is a mineral. And it's 2 years. And if it happens to redeem in the
2 years.
second year, it's 50% because it's 25% per year. Long answer to
Oh,
a short question.
interesting.
My apologies.
Okay. So if it's homestead, agricultural, or mineral rights, it's 2 years. And if it redeems in the
2 year
second
redemption period.
year, it's 50%. Love
Yes,
that.
25 a
And
year. Yeah,
yeah, and if it redeems in the first year, it's 25%. So
correct.
that's still a win.
Of
Yeah.
course. But it's a better win. And it's a better win. It's a win for everybody because they their house and the investor makes 25% on his money. It's very equitable in terms of all the other states. It really is. We
And
think
that
it's the
is
best.
in Texas a deed. Love that.
Yes. The other tax deed
I'm
state that
going
has something similar. I'm sorry?
No, I'm going to remember that. Is who's the other state?
Georgia. Georgia has a very similar thing. The only problem with the Georgia structure compared to Texas is you can't really officially become the owner until 1 year has passed. Whereas in Texas, as soon as you buy it, you're the owner.
Love that. Love that. Okay. I This has been so informative, and I know I get a lot of phone calls from people wanting to invest and looking for investments, and I don't normally have somebody that I can send them to or know where to send them. And Arnie, now I have somebody. That's awesome.
Well, that's that. Thank you very much, and just for you and all your audience to know, we if you refer someone to us that joins us, we have a referral fee.
Oh, that's great. I love that even more.
Yes, I spoke at the club in Austin several years ago, and it was quite a nice facility and everything that they had there. And it was fun.
Yeah. Austin's a weird little town, but it's cool.
Yeah.
So you can get professional guidance and ongoing support with Arnie. And he will guide you through everything. He will teach you how to become an investor and get ongoing support, or he'll do it for you, which is even better, I think. If you don't want to do it, he'll do it for you, which I think is
Um,
fabulous. Um,
Pam, something else I'd like to add to that, if you don't mind. You don't necessarily have to want to be an investor. We have found some people who want to, a couple that just retired, and they're looking for something to do rather than just sit around. And one of our most productive couples have been doing that with us for 10 years, and they're out there just earning 1 or 2 days a month or 3 days to go preview the properties and go to the sales. So it's not just for the investors, but Of course, that's our primary. But I've often thought about, let's go to some of these retirement homes and see if some people want to get out and do some stuff, because we need
Oh, I
people,
love that.
because we're getting so much. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I love that. If you need something to do, call Arnie as well.
Would you like the phone number? And
I
or
would.
online?
Why don't you give us all
Uh,
your digits and all your website information and how we can contact you? And
yeah,
would love to get your name out there.
here you go. And by the way, it's my personal phone number. It's not going to get a recording unless I'm on the other phone, and then I'll call you back. It's my
I
number
love
direct.
that.
It's 214. I'll start over. 214 869 7188.
Okay, give that number one more time for everybody.
214 869 7188.
And you'll answer that phone yourself. I love that. And your
That's
website
right.
is
Now we
Texas.
do have a company number that everybody could call too, but hey, if your people are calling, they've already heard all this, so they'll have a specific question. And here's what I always tell people: I love questions. There are no
I
such
love
thing as dumb questions, but there
it.
are no short answers in this business.
This is
So
true.
be
So
prepared.
do you get text there as well?
Yes, it's Arnie, ARNIE, at, and then it's TX, then TAX, sales.com.
Arnie,
TXtaxsales.com. Arnie
Arnie
at
at
TXtaxsales.com.
sales.com. And then your website is TX Tax Sales.
Correct.
I love that.
TX,
So
yeah.
txtaxsales.com. Love it. That is your website. So you've got it. You've got Arnie personally. If you want to give him a call, you can text him as well. And then you have his email. Give him a shout out and give him a call, and he will help you through all this and will help you to become an investor and or spend some time looking at houses if you just want to spend some time, and or if you're looking to invest and don't want to spend the time, he'll do it for you, but he'll definitely teach you how to pick up some deeds. I got that right this time?
You did well.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So give him a call. Let's get some of this business going. And Arnie, thank you so much for visiting with me today. I'd love to have you back at some time and we could talk about some of the homes that you've gotten sold out.
There's always more happening beyond the listings. Stick around and catch the next episode for real talk and insights that help you move smarter and farther in real estate.